be even more connected to you. Okay. And you feel like I'm talking about you only, but not everything exactly, but most of the things you can relate with. And let me share my screen and start the presentation. Shall we start or wait?
Sir, start, sir. Sir.
Hmm.
Start.
So today's session is a little lengthy, so have patience. And that's the reason only I took the attendance in the beginning and at the end, okay, to check how many people have that patience level. Yeah. Okay, then let me share my screen. Is my voice is clear? Are you getting any?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. It's
Sure.
clear.
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Are you getting any
Yes, sir.
background noise?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. Clear.
Your voice is
Get
clear.
any background noise? Let me know. I'll connect to my headset. Okay. For now, I don't want to wear headset because I'm getting a lot of ear pains. But let me know if there is any need for me to use the earphones. I'll use. Okay. But just let me know. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Then great. So let's start a session. Okay. Hmm. Again, similar. I think I forgot to change the date. So yeah. So last time, whose story we learned about?
Lorries
Laurie,
story.
sir.
Lorries
Laurie's
story.
story. And you feel a lot of connection with Laurie and you, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Today, we are going to learn one more woman story, and which is very personal to every one of us. Because in our lives, we also go through such kind of similar situations, and we will see what exactly the transformation she had achieved and what problems she had gone through. We will see one by one, and I'll explain in detail everything until the end of the slide. Last slide, don't get confused about anything. It's story, so you don't have to confuse. And whatever so far you learned from neuroplasticity, epigenetics, quantum physics, quantum science, like all kind of stress management, every knowledge, whatever you had is going to be used in this particular presentation. So those of you who have already had a clarity about what I explained in previous Saturday sessions, that's well and good. You will get complete overview. If you are someone who is attending for the first time to today's session, also you'll get complete whole picture. And that's the specialty of myself. Okay. So no matter who you are, I'll teach you in a way that you feel like you understand everything. So that's what good communication is all about. And I am sure I will not make you feel bored. So let's start today's session. Today's session is about one woman story, and that woman name is Candace. Candace. Okay, Candace. So don't get confused. You can think of Candy. Okay. So anything is fine. Name doesn't matter, but her story matters the most. And who is she and why we are going to talk about her life today, we will explain. And by looking at image, what you can guess that what kind of problem she is having?
She's arguing with some
Mental stress.
anger.
Understanding. Something happened. He did not understand.
Anger.
Angry.
Fighting with her husband.
He told his problem. Okay, great.
Anger.
Yes, so it's about relationship, and it's about fighting with the husband, and it's not about love story. It's not about something else. It's a breakup story, and we'll see what is going to happen with her life and what she had gone through and struggled and how she changed her life. But this particular story is going to have a lot of interesting things, and you can all relate with this person's story. Even if your relationships are good, also don't consider the relationship aspect, but what she go through after relationship, we will see. Okay. So Candice's relationship barely just 1 year old, and she felt like it was not working for her with her partner, and every time they were having lot of continuous fightings, and so many things which are related to trust related problems, and blaming each other. And it just after a few months, only after their togetherness, after a few months, she and her boyfriend became deeply involved in continuous fighting, and volatile accusations means arguing with each other. Constant mistrust means like they are always not believing in each other, and questioning about each loyalty. and ceaseless act of blame. They are blaming for everything, for whatever is happening in their life. So that was the condition of these two people, especially Candace relationship. And they were also feeling so much jealous and insecure, and they were having very poor communication in terms of communicating their expectations to each other. And because of that, every time they are feeling unfulfilled with their relationships, and they are not feeling any satisfaction in that relationship. And because of that, they were not getting any joy in that relationship. Okay, so this is what the story, background story of these, especially Candace. And she was a girl who had never had any raise in her entire 20 years of her life. Okay, and before that, she never used to have such kind of anger, resentment, and uncontrollable tantrums. Tantrum means something, outburst, like shouting and crying so much without controlling her emotions. So she was something before, it was not this kind of person, but after she got into relationship and togetherness, she started experiencing this kind of problems, like every time, screaming and outbursting. So this is what about the Candace personality in the relationship after just 1 year. Okay, and here, and she started, after every fight, she started feeling unworthy, like she feeling like I am not enough, and I think I am not good. And she started victimizing, like every time she started feeling victim means suffering. Okay, she's suffering for everything, whatever the problems she had, going through. And she was also feeling insecure. Insecure means feeling low about her own self inside, and she's not feeling any confidence within her. And this, as I mentioned before, in her life, this was something never happened with her. Actually, she was just 28 years old lady. And in her entire 28 years, she never had this kind of problems. Like she never had tantrums or frustration, angry and resentment. But all of a sudden, she started seeing a new personality in her with the relationship problems with her partner. And with this, every day she became addicted to all the emotions, all the negative emotions like anger, resentment, frustration, disappointment, insecure. These are all the negative feelings. She got so much addicted with all these emotions. And now these all the emotions became her identity. Identity means like everybody started recognizing her that she is very angry and she is unworthy. It's like she is frustrated every time, disappointed. So these all the negative emotions became her identity. And we also have our own identities, right? People say some people tell us that you are a very calm person, you are a very intelligent person. We have our own identities. But when it comes to her, everybody started treating her, and she started treating her own self with all the negative emotions, and her personal reality creating her, like her personal reality, whatever is happening around us, creating her own personality. So all the situations are creating who she is. Okay, that's how she is going through. And all the external environment, like whatever is happening around us, was controlling how she was thinking, feeling and behaving, okay, or acting. And she became like a victim trapped in her own life. This is how the condition was she is now. And completely she lost the control over her life, and everything around her external world is controlling her life, the way she think, the way she feel, the way she act. So this is how all the external circumstances, her boyfriend, all the problems in her home started controlling. And now she became the prisoner in her own house or in her own life, with all the negative emotions and thoughts. Okay, and now victimized and imprisoned in this emotional state, she was recreating the same thoughts, same behaviors, and same choices, and the same experiences over and over and again. Because every time, whenever she is with her partner, she started having this all the emotional, state. Like she is into a certain emotional state of being, all the negative emotions, and that emotional state of being started creating same thoughts and same choices and same behaviors and same experiences, whatever she go through again and again and again. She's practicing relentlessly every day all the negative emotions and thoughts and feelings. So because of that, one minute. Yeah, and it became so bonded, means she became so addicted to those emotions. And because she's every time reaffirming and practicing, and now she started feeling so much comfortable with all the negative emotions than to change herself to a new personality. Now she so much addicted and started programming her life completely to all the negative emotions, and she felt like now I cannot change my life, and it is better to stay like this and live this kind of familiar life instead of changing from negative to positive. Like she started feeling like I cannot change, even if I want to change also I think it's not possible for me, and it's better to be in this kind of toxic relationship and in this toxic environment, because I feel it's very difficult for me to live and embrace the new life. So that's how she started feeling inside, and that is what her condition is. Okay. And with this problem, she almost within just 3 months after she started resentment, and she started seeing a lot of downfall in her life. She started seeing so much downfall in her life in terms of confidence, whatever the interest, concentration, anything in her life. She started seeing a lot of decline in her life. And also, she, because of this emotional state, she couldn't able to sustain with any of the, like her body became so vulnerable that she could not able to handle this stress, and she started having a lot of heightened stress. And that's the reason I asked you to watch the stress management video, and now you get to know what is stress. The moment when you are going through stress, then what kind of mechanisms get activated and how it is going to affect your body in innumerable diseases. Okay. So in our case, she started having a lot of stress, and her body is not capable of handling that level of stress. It is extreme level of stress. And with that, she started having hair fall in a way that she almost lost 1/3 of the hair within just 3 months. Whenever she started touching, then she started seeing big chunks of hair in her hand, and almost 1/3 of the hair was gone within just a matter of 3 months into this state of emotional state of getting into depression and into high level of negative emotions. And also she began experiencing severe migraine, very serious headache, and chronic fatigue. She started seeing a lot of tiredness. Okay, tiredness. She is not feeling any energy inside her. And gastrointestinal problems like stomach issues. She started getting stomach pain and acidity problem, and poor concentration. She is not able to focus on anything in her life, and insomnia, like lack of sleep related problems also she started facing. And she gained a lot of weight. She put on so much of weight, and she started going through a lot of pain every time. And not only this, apart from that, there are a lot of other range debilitating, means very bad symptoms, all of them quietly destroying her. All these kind of problems slowly started destroying her body and her brain and mind, everything in her life. So this is the kind of situation she is in, with a very bad relationship with the person. And now she felt so much. Okay. And she realized that this all the disease whatever she had gone through is a self-inflicted. Inflicted means she is the one who you know invited that all the problems into her life. And then she just every time Candace was turning on stress hormones and her autonomic nervous system by just thought alone, by thinking about her partner, thinking about her situations. She is immediately activating her stress responses and autonomic nervous system. I explained autonomic nervous system in our stress management video, so I hope you already have some idea. If not, then go and watch the stress management video. But autonomic nervous system means simple, like now you are listening to my class, and so many bodily processes are happening inside you, like your heart is beating, you're getting a lot of breathing inside, and digestion system is happening. Like there are a lot of different processor are happening which are in, without even your attention. Okay. Autonomic means which happens on its own. Nervous system means your brain will take care of certain processes inside. And she was just and whenever autonomic nervous system happens, your heartbeat rises, you started getting sweat, and you feel some sort of sensations. Suppose just think of that you're a new member in this class. If I ask you to speak in front of all these members, then because of the fear, you will automatically, your autonomic nervous system get activated, you feel a lot of heart rate, and you get sweat and you get shivering. So make sure, Aarti, don't talk in the middle. Okay, you are on my screen, I am seeing you. Mm. People, be careful, and I watch, you are distracting me. Okay, so don't do that. Mm. Okay, so she was every time doing all these things by just thought alone, like you also do, right? Tomorrow you have a presentation to give, and by thinking about the presentation itself, you started feeling little butterflies inside your stomach, right? So this is what, by just thought alone, she started in activating the stress hormones. So that is what she is doing. And she couldn't turn off, even though she can able to turn on all the things by thought alone, but she could not able to turn off the stress response. And eventually she started down regulating genes, and her thoughts were literally making her sick. Just her thoughts only started making her feeling sick. And down regulating, up regulating, you will find this concept in the epigenetics video. Okay, if you watch the epigenetics video, like your body consists of around 100 trillion cells, 1,000 trillion cells, and every cell in your body has a DNA, and certain cells activated and deactivated, and based on the signals which you send. So in our case, stress hormones going through her body through the blood, and every part of her body has different organs. And now what's happening, that blood is going and injecting, entering to the one cell. Just think of that one cell. And if the blood is very pure, having no negative chemicals, means no poisonous hormones, then that cell will get activated, healthy, healthy cells, okay, healthy genes. Now if your blood is inflicted with means poisoned with the chemicals like hormones, negative hormones, then instead of regulating upregulating the healthy genes, you are going to upregulate the other negative genes. Okay, so DNA. That means you are just invoking, like turning on the switch. You have fan and light in your room, right? So by just going and clicking on them, turning on some switches. So some switches are for in your body, there are some switches in your body, they are for health, and some are for unhealthy. So now with this negative emotion, she is turning on the negative health related issues. Okay, she is turning on the negative related health issues. And with her, because of that, she started slowly becoming very sick, and she became very sick. And you also can relate with it. When you are thinking too much negatively, you become sick and you don't want to do anything, you feel tired every day, and you almost feel like you are not having any energy at all. Okay, and now it's 6 months became, and she was still living in the similar kind of relationship with the same person, and with the very highest level of stress. Because as you are getting into more and more darker, then you will get more and more problems, right, in your life. And now she started experiencing even more heightened level of stress in her life. And slowly she started seeing a lot of symptoms in her body, and that symptoms are warning sign for her. There are different kind of symptoms she started experiencing in her life, and they are warning sign in her life. Okay, and she started, like, she subconsciously continues to choose the same reality, means same thought, same feeling, same behavior, and which is now her normal state of being. Like being in a depression, into negative state of mind, is very normal to her nowadays, and into the high level of stress. And now she started experiencing a lot of negative survival emotions. Okay, I have explained the protection mechanism and survival mechanism in the stress management. If you know that, then it is easy for you to understand. Now a lot of negative survival emotions like fear, anger, all the negative emotions she started going through. And now, as she's sending a lot of negative emotions, all the negative emotions are signaling the wrong genes in your body. Okay, means unhealthy genes, they are invoking inside. And she felt she was slowly dying from inside. With all these problems, she felt like every day she is dying inside. Okay, she started going through a lot of problems in her life, and she started going through all these situations. Okay, and she knows that she needed to take control, but she could not how to do. Okay, she knows that something is not going good in my life, and I needed to take control of my life, and I needed to take care of everything in my life, but she don't know how to do that. And at the same time, she don't have a courage to leave that relationship. Okay, she don't have a courage to leave that relationship. And she remained in that same relationship for over again 1 year, and living in a habitual resentment. Every day her duty is to get a anger, and resentment means complete negative feeling, like too much negative feeling about someone, like jealous about someone, getting too much angry about someone. And completely she is living in that kind of life for over 1 year in that relationship. And she wanted to take control, but she had a fear that she don't have a courage to come out of such kind of relationship in her life. And she slowly started looking at her body, and felt like now my body is paying the price for all the choices which I'm making in my life. And somehow, finally, after 1 year, she consulted doctor. Okay, she finally went to see the doctor in the month of November in the year of 2010. Okay, and she found that, like, doctor felt, saw her reports and told that she is diagnosed with a Hashimoto's disease. Hashimoto's disease nothing but thyroid. Okay, Hashimoto's disease nothing but hypothyroid. Okay, not hyper, hypothyroid. Hypothyroid means which is lesser. I will tell you what is a thyroid. Thyroid is a gland. Okay, I told some of the glands in our body in the stress management, adrenaline glands and different glands. For us, like, we have thyroid glands. Okay, mostly you'll find here in your nose. Okay, throat, not nose. Okay, so at your throat area you will find the thyroid glands on both sides. Okay, these thyroid glands produce the thyroid chemical. Okay, think of the thyroid hormones. Okay, it produces the thyroid hormone. So the hormone, like, suppose just think of that hormone release every day. It's supposed to be 3 to 5 liters of hormone should be released in our body every day for our different functional reasons. But in a hypothyroid, the glands will release lesser than required. Hyperthyroid means the thyroid glands releases that hormones more than required. Hyper means very much higher, and hypo means very lesser than required. So in our case, she is going through the problem called Hashimoto's, nothing but she is having a hypothyroid disease. Okay, because of all her conditions, she started going through that problem. And now it is an autoimmune. It's not a regular thyroid. Okay, it's not a regular thyroid like what you go through. Most of the people nowadays having thyroid disease, but in our case, it is not a regular thyroid. It is something. Hashimoto's means it is a autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease nothing but you have immune system, right? When you have an immune system, when it is working fine, what it will do, it will try to cure you whenever you have any, fever, flu, or maybe whatever, if you are having any COVID related issues or any problem you have. So most of the time your immune system will cure yourself and it will give you health. But in our case, her own immune system started working against to her. Okay, instead of curing her problems, it started becoming like her own enemy. Like, immune system is our own friend which will cure all the diseases in our life. But in our case, because of all the conditions, now her own immune system started working against for her, and it is creating so many other health problems. Why? If you watch the stress management video, in that video, when you are constantly under stressful situation, when you are in the fearful situations and into negative emotions, now every time you are in a flight or fight mode, you are in a flight or fight mode. And there is a one more survival creation, and another one is immune systems mechanism will be there. Now there is no energy is going to your immune system. Okay, there is no energy left for your immune system to cure all your diseases or to take care of your body. So in that case, what is happening? Instead of working for her, it started working against to her and making her, thyroid glands to, it started attacking her thyroid glands and becoming that problem becoming even more severe in her case. So this is what started happening in her life. And what exactly the symptoms we have when we go through this hypothyroid or Hashimoto's disease? So the first one is you will gain a lot of weight. Okay, if you have a hypothyroid, then you will gain a lot of weight. If you are having hyperthyroid, then you will lose the weight. Okay, you will become very thin. So this is a one particular condition you will see in your case when you are having uh, hypothyroid. Okay, and you feel a lot of depression. Like, she started feeling a lot of depression when she is into this Hashimoto's disease, and panic attacks. Like, she will wake up little, in the sleep, and she will get every time frightened for different things, and her heartbeat goes very faster, and she get every time some kind of jerks in her body. Okay, and abnormal heartbeat, like, it don't beat, heartbeat will be abnormal. Sometimes it beats faster, and sometimes it beats very slow. And high cholesterol, you will experience a lot of cholesterol, that's why you gain a lot of weight. Okay, and low blood sugar levels than required, you will have a low BP and low blood sugar levels in your blood. Okay, and constipation, like, you don't have a free motion and you feel a lot of stomach pain inside your, stomach. And migraines, you will feel a lot of excessive headaches, and which happens very continuously. You feel a lot of migraine every time, and you go through so many difficult problems in your life. And muscle weakness and joint pains. Okay, so mostly you have a lot of muscle weaknesses. You will go through a lot of pain, and your joint will also get stiffened. Means you can't move your hands and legs and fold your hands and legs easily. You feel a lot of difficulty and pain in your muscles and in your joints. And memory loss, you will forget most oftenly. And you also have a lot of problem with the vision. You can't see the things properly also. And infertility issue also will be there, like you can't produce the babies. Okay, you will become impotent, that you cannot give the birth to any other, person. And also the hair loss. And these are all the symptoms that lady is experiencing in that condition, okay, at that time in her life. So these are all the problems generally, okay, she started facing. And in this image, the goiter means when you see the thyroid people, you will see very big swollen throat. See, right? Generally, when you look at someone, like, you can easily identify when they have very big throat, which is very swollen here. Then you will see that they are having thyroid. Okay, goiter means that symptoms, like you can see easily the outside throat, like you will see some sort of big swollen throat. Okay, the glands will come out. Okay, the thyroid glands will come out, and that is what mostly people will identify. And you will feel that also when you touch someone who have thyroid, you can feel that something you will touch. Okay, so yeah, this is what hypothyroid symptoms, especially in our case autoimmune hypothyroid. Okay, and the doctor told her, okay, whatever she started. And the condition, like the doctor told, most of the doctors, for every reason they'll say it's a genetic. Okay, you have family history where somebody had that problem, so because of that you also had it, and we can't do anything about it. Okay, we cannot change this particular problem. It is incurable and we cannot cure it. But you have to suffer your entire life by taking the medication. You have to take every time medicine for your thyroid problem, and there is no other option for you to come out of your this particular issue in your life. And also he told, like, when it comes to coming to our body, as I mentioned, autoimmune system. Okay, your immune system will go and fight with all the diseases. In our case, what is happening, like her own body, her own immune system started working against to her. And whenever your immune system started against to her, like her antibody, means some of the warriors inside, just think of some of the soldiers who came and started fighting against your own immune system. Okay, so that cannot change. Because of that, this particular disease is incurable. We cannot cure this disease, and you have no other option. You have to every time control your thyroid. That's it. By taking the medication, you have to take continuous medicine, and then that's how you should. And later she found that nobody had any thyroid related issues in her past. Means our family, no one had any thyroid in her family. And generally this is what happens mostly when you go to doctors, and doctor always say that it's a genetic. But most oftenly nobody had that kind of problem in our family history, but we ended up having. And they feel like maybe your father had, mother had, maybe your grandfather, grandmother had. And this concept I explained very in detail in the epigenetics concept. Go and watch epigenetics video after this class. You will get complete clarity about genes, understanding how genes works, and how it is true. Like sometimes not everything comes with the genetic, okay, genes. And it changes from person to person with the environment and our lifestyle. Okay, and this particular results, whatever she had gone through and consulted doctor, this gave her some clarity to her in her life. So far she was living in a well, and she don't had any idea about what is happening inside her and outside of her life. And by just consulting the doctor, she got some kind of awareness now. And this reports gave her wake up call, like, now wake up, you are going through so many problems in your life. If you can't take the charge, then your life will be ended. And this particular incident has turned out to be her wake up call in her life. Okay, are you still there in the class? Are sleeping?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you
Yes, sir, we are listening.
experiences? Okay, let's move ahead in our story. And in our case, like as we have mentioned, that the moment when it was, every time whatever is happening in her life, that she was, it downed her, means she got the realization that she was single-handedly responsible for creating autoimmune illness, and that was slowly destroying her physically, mentally, emotionally. She realized that, okay, I am the one who single-handedly create all these problems in my life, and now I created the autoimmune diseases. Means my immune system will create the diseases instead of my immune system fighting with other diseases. My own immune system started creating the problems for me, and this particular problem slowly destroying me physically. She became, weak, but she gained a lot of weight, and she is feeling so much depressed. She became mentally, emotionally so weak, and it is destroying her life. Okay, and now all of her body's energy was working towards keeping her protected, because now every time she is under constant threat, fear and anxiety about her life, and because of about all the problems which she is getting from her partner, and there was no energy left for her internal immune system. Like if you watch the stress management video, you'll understand she was so much fighting with external things about her, partner, and about her conditions and everything, and there was no energy left. Just think of that now. How it works means, how stress works and how your body works means, now you are in a war. Just think of that, we are in a war with the Pakistan. Okay, and we have a lot of budget. Okay, a lot of budget is there for our in the hands of our government, and the budget can be used for the development and road construction and hospitals, and taking care of schools and giving the better facilities, and a lot of things can be taken care. All the welfare schemes can be taken care with the budget, and that is what internally the budget can be used internally across the country, and we can make our lives better. But just think of that, we are constantly involved with the war with the Pakistan and China. What happens now? Government stop giving the welfare schemes and whatever, because it requires a lot of budget to buy and expensive budget, defense related equipments, and now it is constantly spending too much amount of money on external things, fighting with other countries instead of our welfare and development. So similar things happening in our life also. Instead of taking care of her body internally, she started constantly worrying about external things, and now there is no energy left, there is no money left for her to take care of internal things. So this is what generally her condition at this point of time, and because of that her own immune system started turning against to her. Now just think of that, now you are not getting any funds and no money from the government, the central government, and no schemes, and all the prices are shot up. Then what will happen? You will definitely die, right? With hunger and with all the fightings, and you will fight with your neighbors for everything, and you will be in a situation where you will be in a very devastated conditions. Okay, and the internal protection system could not manage itself any longer, because it is not handling. Like now state governments will not run the state because of the lack of budget. In the same way, in our case also, she is not able to manage anything internally, and she is mostly fighting with external conditions. Okay, and now she reached a stage where finally she decided to choose to leave that relationship after 5 months. Okay, after this, all the conditions, she decided that let me come out of this relationship. She fully understand that the relationship had been unhealthy and not serving her anymore, and every time she is into fightings and disappointments, and slowly she is dying inside when she is in that relationship. And she asked herself, like, what's the trade-off? Like, what I'll get in the return if I do, and what I'm going to lose and what I'm going to gain if I decided to come out of this relationship and stay in the dysfunctional and profile myself deeper into the darkness, staying in the same relationship and getting even more darker, or choose the freedom and possibility whatever I have in my life. And this is my chance for new life and different life. Okay, so she felt like now this is my choice to take care of my life, whether to go into that same situation or to completely into new life. And compelled, like moved by the desire to finally stop doing what she was no longer loving to her, and she started rewriting her biological code. Now she wanted to rewrite her own life with her own choice, and she don't want to get into that. And now she's at the edge of cliff to decided to move into her different life. And this was a turning point in her life, that clarity she got that she wanted to come out of her relationship. And now she chose not to accept her illness. When you're accepting your illness, that illness becomes your identity. Now she said, I don't want to accept my illness. Her illness is thyroid, right? That thyroid problem, and she don't want to accept her illness. She don't want to feel like she had that disease. But she slowly started respectively declined physician diagnosis. Like doctor said to take the medicine and use all these chemicals, and she wanted to decline all the doctor's suggestions or diagnosis, whatever the prescription he gave. She reminded herself that at that time, this is a very important line you should remember in your out of entire presentation. My mind that creates the illness. Now whatever I am going through, because my mind created that illness, and same mind that will create the wellness. Okay, my mind only created all the problems in my life. If my mind had the power to create all the illness in my life, then the same mind I am going to use it to create the wellness in my life. Means I am going to completely eliminate all the unhealthy life from me, and I will create the healthy life. So this is what she decided, and we all have the power to create what we want. And now whatever you are going through, it is you created on your own self, being your own engineer. And if you decided to create good also, it is possible. If you have the power to create the bad, you also equally have the power to create the good and good life also. So this is the line which I really was connected with, and it's true. It's true that if you can apply this line, then your life also will change into miraculously. Okay, although she took medications prescribed, like she started taking little by little medicine every now and then by her physicians, because thyroid is about the chemical levels, and if they should be maintained properly at certain level, otherwise you feel a lot of other health issues also. But even though she was taking all the medications, but she wanted to change her beliefs. Okay, she wanted to change about her beliefs about the condition, whatever the doctors or medical community told, that because whatever medical community told, it is incurable and you have to live entire your life by taking these pills and there is no other way. But she wanted to believe in a different way. She wanted to change her beliefs about these problems, and she don't want to get suggestible by the medical people, and she wanted to try and do one experiment. She wanted to do one science experiment on her own body and in her life, that we can change, because she mentioned, right, I created my illness and I will create my wellness. And she wanted to do one science project by using her own condition, and she decided to change her life. If she succeed, then now we can all learn from her. If she failed, then we can feel like certain things cannot be changed. But let's see what is going to happen now, whether she changed or succeeded or not. And in every good movie, the ending is happy only. But the ending will not something matters the most, but how you achieve is something important. That is where we learn so many things which are related to our own life. And let's start now. And she was so much optimistic, and optimistic means you're so much hopeful about your future. And that's why I asked you to write the test about optimism level and check your optimistic condition, whether you're optimistic person or pessimistic person. And that is also one psychology video is there in our old Saturday psychology sessions. Take the test and check your score, whether you're optimistic or pessimistic. And in her case, she's optimistic. Optimistic means something, she is hopeful for her future and she's so much positive about her future life. And enthusiastic, she is so much excited about her life to go through. And those emotions drove her new state of thoughts and allowed her to see the new possibilities. Like after you join in this class, you feel like I can achieve anything in my life. That kind of feeling you get, right? In her case also, she was so much optimistic and she wanted to change and see new possibilities in her life. And she didn't accept her diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment. Diagnosis is nothing but whatever the medicine they are giving, and prognosis means some treatment, like they'll give, take this course for next 6 months or next 3 months, take this tablet every day, like that they'll say, right? And treatments means whatever the surgeries or whatever the checkups they do. Okay, so she don't want to accept any of those things and believe in the most probable outcomes of her future. Okay, whatever she wanted, she only wanted to get the future outcomes, positive future outcomes. And she don't want to surrender herself to this permanent diagnosis, because it was incurable disease, and she don't want to accept that. And also she didn't condition her body to the future worst case scenarios. Generally when we are in the present, we think about all the negative things what is going to happen in our future, right? She also felt like, I don't want to accept, I don't want to condition my body for the future negative scenarios. Instead, she started thinking that positive things about her future. She started thinking mental rehearsing about her future positive things. Okay. And now she had a different attitude. So she was now in a different state of mind. Okay. State of being. Your state of being nothing but, remember, your state of being nothing but your present thoughts, your present feelings, and your present behaviors. Okay. And now she's thinking completely different, she's feeling different, and she's acting also completely in a different way. That's why she is in a different state of being. Okay. And she just slowly started moving her old personality to new personality. Even though Cadence did not accept her condition, she had a lot of work to do, because obviously if you decided to change one day, you will not change overnight, right? You have to do a lot of practice and put hard work into your day-to-day life, and then only you will see the changes. And she slowly started putting that. And to change her belief about her disease, she had to make a choice with an amplitude of energy that was greater than the hardwired programs in her brain and the emotional addictions in her body, so that body could replace or respond to a new mind. And this concept which I explained in a quantum mind. Okay. The moment when you started having a lot of positive thoughts about yourself to change about your future, then the present, your body, every cell in your body generates electromagnetic field. And now that electromagnetic field energy is very higher, and that is going to change her brain and also her body. And her body is so much addicted to emotions, and that emotions are something now, her body, like, she started having a new thoughts means her mind. Okay. New mind. Now her body is slowly responding to her new mind. So if you watch all the old videos, then you'll get a complete clarity of what exactly I'm speaking now. Okay. And only then could she experience the necessary change. If she started having a lot of positive energy, then only she had a power to rewrite her subconscious mind programs, and then our neurological programs also. Okay. Whatever the neurons, just think of that your brain has a lot of neurons, and that neurons already got connected. Your personality decided by your neurons how they fire. And old neurons, like some of the A, B, C, D, are the four neurons in your brain started firing with each other. And now to see new change, now those four neurons should get deactivated, and other E, F, G, H kind of neurons should get activated. Then only will transform. Otherwise, every time you are using your old neurons, then you will not change. Okay. So to see the change, your neurons also should change. Okay. Neurologically change. And now genetically, as we have seen, right? Previously, her body is, activating some negative genes, but now those should be down regulated. I mean, those switches should be turned off, and new switches should be turned on. New genes should be turned on. Then only you will see the change in your life. Change means neurologically, genetically, epigenetically, chemically. These are all the changes happen. Then only you will be transformed as a person. But by just thought alone, by just thinking one day positive, will not change. It should be happen continuously with the practice. It should happen continuously, consistently with the practice. Then you will exactly see the changes what you really wanted to change. If you wanted to completely transform your life, then you should transform how your brain is working, how your genes are working, and how your programs are working in your subconscious mind. Then you will be transformed. Otherwise, you will see few days changes. After that, again, you will go back to your old personality, because your body has memorized old emotions feeling into some ways. That's why you see, right? A lot of people who joined in this platform, they were very much happy with their old life, even though they are going through so many problems with the communication skills. Now, when they move to this class, initially they feel a lot of uncomfortable feeling, because their body don't want to go through this kind of different emotions. Their body was so much conditioned to go through the old emotions only. And that's why their body pulls them out of this class, don't join in this class, because they don't want to change. So that's how people have, when you are so much addicted to certain emotions, change becomes difficult. Okay. And your body pulls you, because now your body becomes your mind. Okay. Your conscious mind will not work, you are unconsciously pull yourself out of. Now, right, generally to use the mobile, and to type the password, initially it becomes very difficult for the first time when you're using the mobile. But when you do it consciously, like so number of times, now you don't even pay attention. Like you actually plan to open in YouTube to watch English therapy videos, but you ended up watching some reels, and you don't even realize that you are scrolling through and you are moving through. Okay. So why? Because now your body is behaving like your mind. Your mind has lost the power, and now your body is dictating your mind. And that's the worst thing in life. If your body has memorized all the negative things and your body is behaving like a mind, then it's just think of like you are a very rich person and you hired one maid, and maid duty is to come to your house and clean the house, but you gave the power to your maid in a way that she became the owner of the house and you started listening to her. How bad it is. That's how your life will be when your body started ruling and controlling everything in your life instead of mind. Then your life is like that only. Okay. Yeah. Now she decided to change, and she attended, like how you attended English therapy class, she also attended one particular session conducted by Dr. Joe Dispenza workshop. And when she attended her first workshop, there are a lot of people are attending to now this class. Okay. And she was so exhausted because her entire 1 year was into that particular problem, and she was so much exhausted. And when she is attending to the class, like she is sleeping in the middle. That's why I'm asking, like some of you are might be sleeping in the middle of the class. So that's why I ask you to turn on your video so that I can check your videos whether you're actively listening or passively listening or maybe sleeping. Okay. And it's true. Why? Because her body is not letting her to use her mind and brain. Her body don't want to listen any of these things. It don't want to change. Okay. And for the first time when she was attending, like she had the low energy and she's not interested, and she was feeling why this man is speaking all these things. It's been 1 hour, he's shouting and shouting, and I am feeling sleepy like that. She started feeling okay inside herself. And she attended next workshop also. And the doctor found that she was taking the thyroid medication. Like she is using, like she wanted to change, but still she started using the thyroid medication to control her chemicals, that hormonal imbalance. But she decided to that she was going to be her own science project. As she mentioned, like this time onward she wanted to change, having an understanding of epigenetics concept, okay, which I explained, and neuroplasticity from workshops and from our English therapy videos also. She had a complete idea of how genes works, how we epigenetics concept works, and how our brain functions. She had that idea, and with that knowledge she wanted to change her life by attending to workshop and also by implementing in her life. And she started assigning a different meaning to her future and different intention. Like she started thinking about her future in a completely different way, that she wanted to have a very bright future. And now what she started doing, every day she started waking up early morning at 4:30 and do her meditation, and began to emotionally condition her body to the new mind. Previously her body was controlling her mind, but with this everyday meditation, like meditation, I already took the class in the past. You can watch that video, you'll get understanding of what meditation I'm talking about. And every day whenever she wake up early morning 4:30, she started doing meditation. In her meditation she started controlling her, now when she was thinking about her future with all the positive thoughts about her positive possibilities about her future, thinking about future, now that became a new mind. With that thinking she slowly started controlling her the body. Okay, with a new mind she started controlling her body. Okay. And now she wanted to be happy and healthy, and she started fighting very hard to regain her life what she want. Even so, she struggled in the beginning because it becomes very difficult for anybody. Last time some of the people felt so much pain, leg pains and hand pains, to meditate for 40 minutes, right? Because it was very difficult, you never had that experience. But she tried and struggled initially, but slowly it became normal for her. Her body had been trained to be the mind for a long time, for being anger, frustration, impatience and victimization. And that's why it became difficult for our body to sit down in that new condition. Okay. And like I told in our example also, like training undisciplined animal. Okay. Like training a street dog will not listen to you. Pet dog listen to you. If you ask sit down, it will sit down. It will, if you ask her to go out, it will go. But street dogs will not listen to you. Your body is like a street dog, okay, and it is not listening to your mind anymore. It don't want to sit for 1 hour to attend to this class. It wanted to go out and then watch IPL, or maybe watch serials, or maybe do or eat, go out or go for parties, something like that, because that's what body loves to do. And now when you are forcefully keeping yourself in this class, means it becomes little difficult for you initially, because it's an untrained dog. But if you train, then it will sit down even for next 3 hours also. If I take, you will listen without any complaints. Okay. And for that, she started every time pushing herself to sit down, to forcefully keeping herself focus on the things. And every time she went through that process, she was just reconditioning her body to new mind and freeing herself bit by bit from her past life. Okay. So this is how, like, now what's happening, like in neuroplasticity, we have a concept called the neurons which fire together wire together, means whatever the neurons which you use frequently, they will become very stronger. In her case, her old personality is result of some neurons connection, very deep connection. If she is again firing the same neurons, then she will not change. Instead of anger, frustration, all the negative emotions, she had to completely use the different emotions. Okay, then only her old neurons get deactivated and new neurons will be activated. Just simple. Okay, when you are in a school days, you used to write very beautifully with very good speed, and at that time your brain neurons are so much responsible for writing with a lot of speed. And imagine that you have never touched the pen again for next 10-20 years, means those neurons which are responsible for you to write became inactive. And again after 10 years, if you want to write, it becomes so difficult for you. And now imagine that you started typing, you learn to type now, and instead of using the new old neurons, now there are certain new neurons will be responsible for the typing, means new neurons will be fire. And if you initially, typing is very difficult for you in the laptop, but if you try again and again and again, neurons will get stronger and you will type very faster. Any skill like that, if you watch neuroplasticity, you will understand in detail. Okay. And she found that every time she is using previously all the neurons which are related to anger, frustration, resentment, and arrogance and mistrust, but now she wanted to use different emotions so that she can trigger the different emotions like love, joy, compassion, and kindness towards others, so that she can forget her old personality. She can completely embrace the new personality. Okay. And she would very quickly make a conscious shift, like sometimes as you wanted to change, but you don't want to do any of this thing, you wanted to go back to your past life. But every time she started having that kind of feeling, she immediately changed her mindset quickly to the new possibilities. Whenever she is feeling like I am going to my past life, immediately she is making a conscious choice to change her life to the new possibilities. And she started saying to herself, like, I'm not that old Candace, and I'm not reaffirming that existence any longer. I don't want that kind of any longer now. I wanted new life, and I wanted to live my life in the best way possible, but I don't want to live that old life. Okay. And she was now overall less moody because of the new meditation, whatever she is doing, and new thoughts and new feelings. And she is now less temperamental, means she is not quickly outbursting and reacting for everything. And she's now less like her old self because she's trying to change herself, and she's changing day by day. Some days, even though she's doing so much, but some days she don't want to even get out of the bed also. But somehow she forced herself, pushed herself to do. And this happens, right? Some days you don't want to attend the class, but somehow you push yourself to do. Why? Because the reason your old personality had that much dominance. You created your personality from past 10 years. How can I change within 10 days classes? It is difficult. And the 11th day you feel like, okay, today Monday. That's why we see a lot of less attendance on Monday, because Sunday you will chill out, and then Monday becomes very difficult for you to attend the, especially Monday morning classes. Okay. So why? Because you're so much every time, whenever the smallest of small choice, also your body wants to go to the past. It don't want to be in the present, and it don't want to go to the future. That's why change is difficult. That's why change is difficult. But if you have that persistence, then you can change. If you keep more and more efforts, then you can change. And after some months, it becomes less like effort and more like a gift. That's why some of the old students join without complaining, even after completing their 6 months, 1 year, also still they join without missing their single day, because they don't want to put more effort, because it becomes very less effortful now, and it feels like a gift for them every day to join the classes and to do the whatever I ask them to do, and they do with a lot of love and a lot of passion. And that is called persistence. Persistence means how many times you fall down, still you are again rising up and doing up, and you're not giving up. Okay, consistency means every day doing. Some days even if you miss also, still you are maintaining to continue to do. That is called persistence, and she is persistent in her life to change herself, because she already had so much problems in her life, right? And she don't want to suffer with all the problems again even more. So that's why it's okay, happened is happened. Now I will change my life forever from this moment onwards. She had that level of persistency and commitment and determination to change her life. And with that, now she started, you know, seeing a lot of change in herself, and she started feeling better now. And also she started communicating with the people around her with a lot of different ways. And she also stopped looking at the world through the mind of fear, frustration. Instead of, she started looking at the world with a compassion, love and gratitude. Previously her life was full of frustration and fear and anger. Now she's not looking at the life or the world through that lenses. Instead she started looking at life through the new lens of compassion, love and gratitude. And now her energy increased with all the positive emotions. If you watch Quantum Mind, you will understand. Okay. And she was able to think more clearly with the new positive thoughts and emotions. Okay. And she erased, now I said right previously, to change yourself you should change biologically, neurologically, genetically, then only will change. And now whatever she had, all the past old self memory, she erased everything. And now she started making a room to create a new self. And her body also began to liberate a lot of energy within, and she started seeing a lot of positive energy within herself. In other words, like she was going from particle, a matter, to energy. If you want to understand, then watch the Quantum Mind video. Okay. And her body was no longer living in the past, and it is living in the future. Okay. And she started asking herself, okay, now she started asking herself, like, how do I want to behave? How do I want to feel? How do I want to think? She started asking these questions to herself after that state of change. And by getting up every day for months, every day, in a state of gratitude, she was every day waking up and doing meditation. In the meditation, she's showing a lot of gratitude to the universe and everything in her life. She was emotionally instructing her body that new future had already arrived. When you are showing the gratitude in the present moment, means your body feels like you already achieved what you want to achieve in the present moment. Before achievement itself, your body believes, your mind believes that you already achieved it. And because of that gratitude feeling and whatever she is, showing to her every day, her genes started signaling in a new way. Okay, so her mind started signaling a new genes in a new ways, and moving her body back into homeostasis. Homeostasis means previously her body is into too much anger, frustration. Now it is finding the balance. Homeostasis means finding the balance. Okay. Yeah. So how, means think of that left side, right side she is having anger, and the right side she is now balancing it with the self love. Previously she was having a lot of anger, but now she started showing a lot of love to herself. With that she is balancing. And previously frustration, now she is balancing with frustration with the patience and gratitude. She slowly started having these positive emotions. On the right side she started having a victimization, and now she started creating the joy and wellness in her life. Okay. And again, previously she was into too much survival mode of living, and now she is into creative mode. Okay, she started being a creator of her own life, and she started slowly converting from matter to energy. She slowly started being very less and less matter and more energy, so that with that new heightened energy she started transforming her entire life. Okay. And now when she returned to her doctor after 7 months of this practice, this meditation, with the new mind and with the new thoughts, And she was like, the doctor was amazed by looking at her results and change by looking at the patient, because 7 months back she was having so many problems, and he said almost it was incurable. But after 7 months, when she again returned to her doctor, the doctor was amazed by the changes observed in her patient. Okay, her blood test had become perfect now. Okay, when he tested her blood, and it became very perfect now. And initially, when she took the test 7 months back in the February month, her thyroid stimulating hormone like TSH has been around 3.6, which was very high. Okay, 3.6 is a very high condition. And her body antibody count also around 638, means inside the soldiers, negative soldiers which are killing around internally, were around 638, which was very imbalanced. Okay, and this was the condition in the month of February in 2011. And she was like almost having a lot of severe problems with that condition. But in the month of September, within just after 7 months, her TSH, like thyroid stimulating hormone, it's a hormone, dropped to a normal level 1.15. It's almost dropped off. And her body antibody count also was very healthy now, it's 450. See, within just 7 months, without taking any medications, she changed her incurable disease into curable. Okay, and she became perfectly all right. And even though she's not taking any medications, and within less than 1 year she changed her incurable disease into curable disease. Okay, and doctor was so much surprised and asked her, how did you achieve it? And it was something I never believed, and it is not possible in medical field. It's something beyond medical science. How did you achieve it? And then she started explaining that she knew that initially she created that problem and she wanted to uncreate it. That's what her entire change began. She told the doctor that in the past I created all my illness, now I decided to create my wellness. And with that I started doing meditation every day and maintaining high level of elevated emotions. Elevated emotions means positive emotions. Now I started having a lot of positive emotions like joy, gratitude, happiness, and wellness. All positive emotions I started having. With that, I changed my bodily energy and epigenetics and neurobiology, everything. Like I changed everything. And now she started, signaling the right genes which are responsible for the good health. Previously, with all the negative emotions, she started signaling the negative, genes and wrong genes. Now she started signaling the right genes or good genes. Okay, and she explained that she had worked regularly on who she wanted to become. Like she started meditating every day in her mind by thinking of who she wanted to become. And she stopped responding to everything in her external condition. Previously, she used to respond and react to everything like an animal. Okay. Like animal, like fighting every time and fleeing, like running away, escaping from that situation, and kicking and boxing and screaming. Like she started behaving like an animal previously, but now she don't want to behave like animal, and she wanted to live like a human. And that conditions she started, and now everything around her now started changing. Like around her entire condition and external conditions are same, but how she is reacting and responding changed. And she's not getting anger for everything, and she slowly started choosing, instead of anger, calmness. And she's responding in a different way and more like loving to herself. Okay, and the doctor told her that this was like absolutely amazing thing, and I wish all my patients also like you, Candice. And it's just incredible to hear your story. And if all my patients also had the similar kind of persistence like you, then I don't have to give them medications, tablets, and other things. They can also cure their diseases. Generally, your condition was lifelong. You have to live with all the problems for lifelong. But within just matter of 7 months, you completely change your personality with the meditation, with all your regular positive habits, and that really changed your life. And it's great thing that every patient of mine also started following like you, then they will also cure themselves. Okay, and she started explaining that sorry, yeah. And now her health was fantastic, and all her hair, whatever she had gone, like previously, started coming back, and she felt great about herself. Like she started feeling good whenever she looked in the mirror. Also, she started looking beautiful, and she mentioned over and over. She is like mentioning that I love my life, and it's so beautiful, and I am living a blissful life. She started reminding herself every time, and also she's now living a completely different life when she diagnosed with Hashimoto's. Like previously, she was so much anger, frustrated. The moment when she diagnosed from this particular disease, and now she started working in a different company. She got a corporate job, and she also started taking care of wellness programs, and she started being partnered with the personal development programs. Also, she started sharing her story to other people so that they can also change their lives. And now she is in a very loving relationship with the new friends, with the new friendships, and she also started getting new business opportunities, and a complete new personality ultimately creates a personal reality. And she started creating a personality, she started creating her new reality with that. Okay, now a state of being is like a magnetic force that draws, means that brings all the events equal to the same state of being. Just think of that, your state of being means your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings. That's your state of being, your present condition. Now think of that, you are someone who is so much negative emotions. All life events happen negative only because you're a magnet now. You're a magnet now, attracting all the negative things only into your life, and no positive things happens. I explained in the last presentation at the end. When I was saying myself like I was unlucky, I started attracting every unlucky thing into my life. And now with this new state of mind, with a positive new state of being, when she was loving herself, when she was feeling good about herself, she started attracting all the positive events and incidents into her life. He started attracting a lot of good health. Okay, and now she is fell in love with herself because from past 7 months onwards, she constantly putting her efforts into that new state of life, and that's why she is loving her life, and her life also loving her back because she put a lot of efforts, right? So that's why her life also started loving her, and because of that she started experiencing a lot of positive things in her life. Okay, and because now she felt worthy, felt respected for herself and all her life, conditions around her began to show up change, which had opportunities to contribute, to be respected, and make the difference in the world. She started getting different opportunities to contribute from her end also. And of course, now she moved to new personality, and the old personality became like another lifetime. She felt like that was not my life, whatever she had. And she felt like I never had that kind of life like that. It was my previous life, not this present life like that. Okay. The new physiology began to drive her to greater levels of joy and inspiration, and the disease then belonged to old personality, and now she became completely someone whom she wanted to become every time. Okay, and she became now completely in love with her life and living the life she wanted, the life she wanted to fulfill. And one lesson we can all learn from Candy's story, that whatever the life which we had now is purely because of we created it, and we are the responsible for it. The day when you accept it, that I created my present condition, then you get the power to uncreate it if you don't like it. Or if you already have the kind of life which you wanted, you can create even more by using the similar signs. And now she's so much excited because she applied her mindset to change certain aspects in her life, and she was so much excited about new problems in her life, so that she can apply whatever she learned from her past experience into new problems also, and she can see the new changes again in her life. So that's how she learned, and we can also learn from her life that anything whatever we are going through in our life also, it's purely because of what we created and how we created. And at times we feel like we cannot change, it's something out of my control, but you can change the day when you decided to change. And if you realize that the power lies within you, within your hands. So this is what the story of Candace, and it's something absolutely relatable to a lot of things in my life because I also had in this kind of situation in the past. And the day when I decided to change, I started changing my life. And for you also, it is easy to possible. But only thing is you had to had that determination. And I see the people in this class, They join with a lot of excitement and a lot of great things, and they join for 1 month, and next month they say that, sir, I need permission, I'll join back, because they are very happy, they found the results and they started seeing the changes. But that changes are temporary, okay? They are just chemical changes, not neurological biological changes, because the changes to happen, it will take time and it take a lot of efforts. And that to happen, then you have to have a lot of patience, and have to have so much of persistence not to give up. Because I will tell you, you can relate with this. Simple. There are a lot of people have told me this. The moment when you join in this class, up to the time you are completely free entire day and not knowing what to do. But the moment when you join in this class, you started having so many events outside. A lot of people come and so many health issues you face. So many people try to distract you and call you and ask you to come and do all these things. And maybe at the time only you have a lot of work from your project, company, college. All this is like testing you, your patience and your persistence. And to change, you have to prove to the nature that you are qualified. Okay. And nature will give us the test to check our commitment. And you should pass the test by maintaining. And this is something very important science. Like people feel like I can change, but I have seen my old students who changed and again became their old personality after some days. So why they have not completely transformed? They started seeing the changes, and with that they again after a few days they take this change for granted, and then they stopped putting efforts. Again they went back to their old personality. And to see the changes, it takes a lot of time, and that's why I see some of my students, old students, they continue for almost 6 months, 1 year, 2 years also. Not for English, they already became good at in speaking in English. They don't worry about much about speaking now, but about their personality, they don't want to go back to their previous life, the life filled with a lot of problems and so many disappointments. And with this they want to continue. And I've seen a lot of my old students who continued for a long time and I checked their life now, still they're continuing, and now they don't feel any difference between the past and the present. They are living in a better way. So the conditions will take place with time, and this cannot be changed. As I said, we have to change means biologically, neurologically, chemically, subconsciously. There are a lot of changes will happen, and those changes happens with the time and with the efforts. And you feel like after joining this 1 hour class, you feel like you changed, but that change will not be permanent. This change is just chemical change. Chemical change means now I made with my words, I made you to made your brain to release some chemicals, positive chemicals and hopeful chemicals. They are just chemical changes, not neurological changes. To understand these changes, I would request you to watch neuroplasticity presentation. In that, how changes place takes place in your neurons level, that you will get to know very clearly. Not about these changes, that to improve your communication skills or any skill in your life, how we learn and develop the skill and how we remember anything. So that you will get to know from that particular presentation. Guys, I am giving the knowledge, lifetime knowledge. Okay, this is something, if you understand this knowledge and implement in your life, without implementation you cannot see any change. Okay, knowing is just information, and implementing is a transformation. And without implementing you cannot transform your life. A lot of people know this information and they will just feel like, okay, I wanted to, but next minute they again go back and do their old routine things, and with that you will not change. Whenever I ask and share something to you means, if you religiously practice them, then you will see the transformation. But by just knowing about all these things and living the way you wanted to live, me, you will not find any changes in your life, and you'll be like that only. Okay. So thank you for your attention, patience, concentration, focus. And a lot of people have been listening very actively, but some people have been listening not actively. Okay, 1 minute. I'm scanning the people. Okay, good. Now, again, we'll take the voting, not voting, attendance. 1 minute.